Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Ash the OT. I'm super excited to share with you today some tips and strategies in order to help your child make progress, to learn, and to develop in their little lives. So today we are going to be discussing some different signs, actually 10 different signs that your child may actually need or benefit from an OT or occupational therapist. And if you're not familiar what an occupational therapist is, no worries. I have another video about that as well, where I go into a little bit more detail about what it is that we do and how we impact your child's life. So before we begin, I just want to let you all know the signs that I'm going over today are not the only signs that indicate that a child may need OT. These are just some of the most common signs that I have come across when I've been working with children, and they may be some of the most common signs that other pediatric OTs have seen as well. So these are just to get an idea of why a child may need OT. So let's get right into it. So the first sign that I often see or that children come to me for is that they have difficulty playing with their toys. So this just means that they have no idea of how to play with the toys, especially if the toys are age appropriate. They don't know how to play with the toys, or they may have very limited play with the toys, meaning they only play with that toy in one particular way. So I'll give you an example. Let's say this child has a toy car. And we know how to play with cars. We can drive them really fast. We can make them go down hills. We can make them crash. We can make them go backwards. But your child or a child you know may only be interested in spinning the wheel on the car, and that's the only way they'll play with that toy. Now, that's not to say that if your kid loves to spin the wheel on the toy, they need OT. That's just giving an example of a type of repetitive play or limited play. And that could be, if you see that continuously with some other toys, that may indicate that they just need a little bit of push to actually help them understand and figure out different ways to play with actual toys. Or let's say your child has a toy that has a button on it, and when you push the button, it should light up or it should make a sound. However, your child just doesn't seem to quite understand that cause and effect concept. If that's the case, then this also may be an indicator that your child has difficulty playing with toys. Another sign that your child may need or benefit from OT is that they are constantly on the move. I mean, you know, those kiddos that are constantly bouncing, they're constantly moving, they can't seem to sit still to save their lives. You're constantly telling them to stop. They're bouncing off of chairs, they're bumping into people. They have a hard time with just being in one spot and focusing on whatever it is that you're asking them to focus on. So if you know a child like this could be another sign that your child may need OT. Which brings me to my next point. Some kiddos have a very poor attention span, and this could manifest in many different ways. There are kiddos out there who are very easily distracted. They could be distracted by different sounds. They could be distracted by different things that they see. There are other kiddos who transition very quickly from one activity to the next. It's super hard for them to just sit there and focus on one thing at a time. There are other kiddos who they seem very lazy or tired, and they're always kind of like low energy, and that makes it hard for them to attend as well. These are all signs that your kid may have a poor attention span, and that can affect them in all different areas of their life, whether they're at home, whether they're at school, and whether they're at daycare. A poor attention span is definitely a sign that your child could benefit from OT. Sign number 4 that your child may need an OT is that they have difficulty participating or tolerating their daily activities or self-care routines. So self-care routines are things such as eating, dressing, sleeping, bathing, getting your hair brushed, getting your teeth brushed. If your child has difficulty either following that routine, if they have difficulty tolerating aspects of the routine, such as not being able to sit for a meal with the family, or not being able to take a bath because they're really sensitive to the water, or not being able to tolerate the toothbrush in their mouth because they really don't like the feel of that brush near their mouth, or near their tongue, near their teeth. These are all signs that your child could benefit from an OT, because an OT also helps kiddos with self-care routines. Sign number 5 that your child may need or benefit from an OT is if they have sensitivity to different sounds, to different textures, or even to different tastes. So let's say, for example, you have a child or you know of a child who is very, very, very sensitive to getting their hands dirty or to getting messy. And I'm not talking about the children who get dirty and they want to clean their hands. I'm talking about the children that if they get dirty, they have an absolute meltdown, or those kiddos who cannot participate in activities that they should be able to participate in, such as doing crafts at school with their classroom or eating a meal because they have to touch their food. They may avoid those things completely because they're super sensitive to getting their hands dirty or getting messy. There may also be kiddos who are sensitive to sounds, such as the toilet flushing, and this could impact them potty training or wanting to go to the bathroom in a public place because they're afraid of that sound, or they're even afraid at home when mom vacuums the floor or when she makes a smoothie in the morning with the blender and it causes a complete meltdown. There could also be sensitivity to taste. There are kiddos that are super, super picky eaters, and it's very hard for them to get the nutrition that they need because they're very limited in the foods that they will tolerate or try. So if you notice that your child has any of these sensitivities, or if there's other sensitivities that you may notice, this could also be another sign that your child may need an OT. Sign number 6 is that your child may have difficulty with holding a crayon, a marker, any type of utensil. They could even have trouble with holding their spoon. If you notice that their grasp is a little bit funky and they don't seem to be able to hold it the correct way, this could be an indicator of poor fine motor skills or decreased ability to actually maneuver and manipulate a utensil to use it correctly. This could be another indicator that your child may need OT. Sign number 7 is that your child may have difficulty tolerating new environments, or they may have trouble with large crowds. If you think about it, when you go into a new environment, you don't know what to expect. And so let's say, for example, your child is going with you to the grocery store. When you go to the grocery store, there's so many different sights, there's so many different sounds, there's so many different people. If they are a lovely grocery store and they have samples, then the grocery store may have different smells from the food that they're passing out to the customers. So it can be overwhelming for somebody who is very sensitive and for a little person who has never been exposed to that, especially in today's timing where a lot of kiddos are stuck in the house. So if they go out into a new environment, or you notice they have a really hard time even with family gatherings, that may be an indicator that there's something going on where they cannot tolerate the senses and the sensory input that is being showed in their environment, and that could be another indicator that an OT may be able to help you and help them out with that. Sign number 8 is that your child may have difficulty with eye-hand coordination. So basically that just means using your eyes and using your hands together to complete an activity. So one of the simplest examples I like to give parents is using your eyes and hands to complete a puzzle. So as simple as puzzles may seem to us, it actually takes a lot of coordination because we have to use our vision and we have to use our hands to not only grasp the puzzle piece, but also locate where the puzzle piece goes and also insert that puzzle piece correctly. So that takes a lot more work than we think it does. But for kiddos who have trouble with puzzles, they may have trouble with shape sorters, they may have difficulty with handwriting, tying their shoes. Those are all signs that they could have poor eye-hand coordination. Sign number 9 that your child may need an OT is if you notice that they become easily upset. These are children that often throw temper tantrums and they have a very, very hard time with controlling their emotions. So this may be an indicator that they have poor emotional regulation and that they have a low frustration tolerance. So children like this could actually benefit from some strategies to kind of help them monitor and understand their emotions, as well as what to do when those emotions overcome them. And sign number 10, last but not least, is that if a child has difficulty engaging socially with others, this could be they have trouble interacting with their family, interacting with peers, interacting with siblings. They could have a very hard time with including others in their play, with sharing. turn taking. They could also have very poor or limited eye contact, and they could be just very self-directed in their play, meaning they only play by themselves and prefer to play by themselves. And if you try to interact or intervene with their play scheme, then they become extremely upset. So that's another sign that your child may need or benefit from an occupational therapist. So those are some of the most common signs that I have noticed that indicate that a child may need occupational therapy. However, that is not the end all be all. So there are many other signs that your child could need and benefit from OT, but I just wanted to present to you the ones that I see the most. I also wanted to make a recommendation to you that if you notice that your child is exhibiting any of these signs and it's very concerning to you because it's interrupting their ability to just function in their day-to-day, I highly recommend that you seek out your pediatrician, talk to them about what you're seeing, and maybe even ask if they can refer you to an occupational therapist. And that occupational therapist will then be able to do the evaluation for your child. They'll be able to make recommendations to you personally, and they'll be able to tell you whether or not your child does indeed qualify or not qualify for OT. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was very informative, and I hope it helped you out a little bit. If you have any questions at all, please email me at ashley@playforpurposep.com. I will definitely check my emails and respond to you to the best of my ability. And I look forward to continuing this journey of sharing knowledge and tips and strategies with you all. So I'll be talking to you guys soon.